Online broadcast. Glad you could join me. It's all about how to use social media to promote your church event. You're welcome to ask questions as we go if you're watching this live, and if you're watching later on demand, thank you for joining us too. So let's get into it. Let's look at our presentation, which will hopefully, reveal a little bit more about the power of using social media. And many church members often ask me, Tim, we run our events. It's hard sometimes to build awareness in our community. We know we should be using social media, not quite sure how. Please help. And if that's your question or your challenge, then today hopefully we'll provide some tips and tools to enable you to be more effective. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm from Ministry Innovation. We're here to look at innovative ways, how churches can find new and better ways to share the gospel, to build community, to engage with their community. So if you've got a church event, and some of the material I'll be sharing today will be along like a health theme, but it can be any sort of event. It could be Bible studies, it could be prophecy seminars, it could be cooking classes, whatever it is. If you've got an event, one of the challenges is how do you build awareness? If people don't know about your event, then they can't come. So of course, the first step is awareness. Then, once you've captured their awareness, how do you generate interest? How do you tap into their desire to attend? And then, of course, once there's that awareness, interest, and desire, of course, we need them to respond, to engage, some sort of call to action, to come and register or call or visit you on the date and time that you're running your program. First of all, I'd like you to think about who is your target. So in running a church event, what is the sort of person you would wish to attract? So of course, what is their age? Is this something for children? Is this a program for young people, for teens or young adults? It might be a broad reach, a broad range of ages. That's fine. Is there a gender skew? Is this something that females would particularly love, or is it for everybody? Of course, if you're running an in-person, a physical event, then you need to be thinking about where is your target location. And if people need to attend your event physically, then of course your location, your target audience lives in your local community. We need to also understand what are their pain points, such as what are the problems that they're trying to solve? Why would they want to attend your event? What is it that you have to offer them that they're missing at the moment? And just a little bit more about that. Why is pain point important? Well, we can reflect that in our ad. We need to use the right language in our ad, the right imagery, and have the right offer that speaks to the issue that they're trying to solve. We mentioned about the right location. Now, of course, if you're running an online event, then your target might be a broad region. It might be a country. Perhaps you don't care. Perhaps you wish to reach anyone around the world. Well, that's important when you're coming to planning and advertising your event. If it's an in-person event, then you might just want to target people within a 5 to 10K radius around your church. And of course, you want to have the right creative that grabs people's attention. When you're promoting an event, though, remember that there's different ways to reach people. And there's still the traditional channels such as radio. You can still use newspaper. And a really powerful and important tool is still word of mouth. Getting your church members to invite their friends, to invite others, their neighbors, to come and attend. And letterboxing is still a tool that's worth trying. When you're testing these different channels, it's also important to be measuring how effective they are. And so if your church is spending $100 and you get 10 people to an event, that's a cost per lead of $10. So whatever channel, whatever combination you use, measure the effectiveness. How much did we spend and how many people did we get in response? What's the right frequency? As in, how many times do people need to see an ad before they come on board? And there's a marketing organization called HubSpot, and they say on average, someone needs to see a communication about 8 times before you can shape and shift their attitude towards you, before they engage and consider purchasing from you. Some other organizations talk about the rule of sevens. So 7 times to see your content, your communications, your ads. Google did a bunch of research, and their research indicated the 7-11-4 rule. This means 7 hours of content, 11 touch points on average over 4 separate locations are required to change somebody, to engage with your business, your service, your church. So 7 hours of content, that's a lot of different content. 11 touch points might be they saw it on the supermarket billboard, notice board. They saw a post on Facebook. They saw something on Instagram. Maybe they got a leaflet in their mailbox. That's a lot of touch points. So while somebody might respond to one ad, typically we require lots of different messages to change someone's behavior. And as you think about the event that you wish to promote, there's that short-term tactical need. So we've got an event in 3 weeks. How do we promote it? How do we engage people to come? But take a step back and think about the long-term need too. What could you do on a regular basis that starts to build an audience? That starts to build an audience of people who are your target market. What sort of content could you post on a regular basis that when it comes around to running an event or promoting an event, you've already got a captive audience there. So that's a great little thing for you to think about, is not only how do we deliver on the short-term need, but what could we do on an ongoing basis to meet the needs of our target audience? Of course, the big question is, when it comes to social, what platform should you be on? And if you look at the data, and here's some Aussie data, and then I'll share some global data, it's hard to beat Facebook. With over 78% of internet users aged between 16 to 64 who use the platforms on a regular basis, Facebook still is queen of social media. And if you take a step back and look at the global picture again, Facebook is massive. It reaches lots of people. You can run your eye through the list, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, really powerful platforms, but it's hard to beat Facebook. Now, often I hear people say, though, isn't Facebook just for oldies? Isn't it just for the older generation? Kids and young adults aren't on Facebook anymore. Well, whilst younger people do prefer some other platforms, such as TikTok, maybe Instagram, here's some data from our own ministry innovation page. And what we see is about 22% of one of the pages on the left consists of an audience of 18 to 24-year-olds. 27, 28% of the audience are 25 to 34. So what we're seeing in our own experience, and many other Facebook users see too, is that whilst you can definitely reach the mid to older generation, younger people are still there. Younger people are using multiple platforms. And so if they want to reach their peers, perhaps they'll use certain platforms. But if you want to reach a broad range of people, you still can't go past Facebook. It reaches most people. It's curious to note, though, that whilst Facebook is a really powerful platform, look at the time spent using social media for TikTok users. And that's just incredible. The average time per month that active users spend using the platform is 42 hours for TikTok. That's double YouTube and more than double Facebook. So if you only had to choose one platform, choose Facebook. But if you've got the capacity to try other platforms, think about TikTok if there's a younger skew. Think about YouTube, a platform that's perfect for longer form videos. YouTube's a great platform as a search engine where people are searching and wishing to solve problems. So if you're present on multiple platforms, that's a good thing. But if you've only got time for one platform, then think about Facebook. We're seeing a change in behavior of people. My generation, when they've got a need, might go to Google to search. I'm looking for a new church. I've moved into an area. I want to learn a new skill. I want to buy a washing machine. I would go to YouTube, or I'd go to Google, and search. But what we're seeing, and the research clearly says that younger people now, particularly Gen Zs, are using social media as their search engine. And here's some stats from TikTok. What they're seeing is More than 60% of Gen Zs and nearly half of millennials and almost a third of Gen Xers have used TikTok as a search engine. So what does this mean? Well, it means that some of them still might use Google to search, but more and more social media is more than an entertainment platform. It's used as a search engine. And if you want your church and your programs to be discovered, then you really need to think about these platforms. Who's on TikTok? Well, based on the audience that we've got for our own channel, what we can see here is, we've got a bunch of 18 to 24-year-olds, 25 to 34, but it seems that the oldies are also jumping on board too. So TikTok can be a powerful entertainment platform. It can be a powerful tool for reaching younger generations, but oldies also are now jumping on board. So it's still a great platform to reach a range of different people. If you'd like to get more insights, let me encourage you to watch one of our videos. And it's a video by Jeremy Dixon. He's a church member in New Zealand, and his church is very active in using health training, cooking classes to reach their local community. And Jeremy has got a great little interview on our Ministry Innovation YouTube account. So after this, or when you've got time, check it out and you'll gain some great insights. And Jeremy shared an example where he was running a church program. It was particularly about vegetarian cooking classes because that's his particular skill. And they said that they spent about $180 in marketing the event. They had 30 people register and turn up, which means then that you can work out the cost per lead, or the cost per registration was about $6 per person. So use that as a bit of a benchmark. Sometimes you'll get worse. You might spend $100 and get one person. That means it's a cost per acquisition of $100. And sometimes you might get better. But measure your response and use that as a bit of a guide. For $180, can you get more people than 30 turning up? I'm going to share with you a little bit about how to use or how to create good ads, but particularly the tool ChatGPT. Now, I can share with you a lot of stuff and you're probably unlikely to remember it. But what I would like you to remember is that ChatGPT is a really useful tool to help guide you in getting problems solved. And so I said to ChatGPT, it's a bit of a test. Imagine that you're a social media marketing manager. Perhaps you're the social media person for your church. You want to create a great ad to promote a church event. Please provide the key elements that make a good ad to help me create an event. This is what ChatGPT said. They said, number one, you need to have a compelling visual. So if you're going to be promoting your church event, you need to have a good picture, a powerful image that grabs their attention, that helps explain what the event is about. And you can see here's just some examples that I've found online of somebody who's done that. So a happy, smiling presenter. You can see immediately that this is something to do with food. There's food in the foreground. And of course, the headline's talking about a pizza party. You need to have a clear, engaging headline. And of course, that's pretty obvious, but it should quickly communicate the main points about your event. It should hook and engage the person, engage their curiosity to find out more and see if this event is relevant to them to meet their needs. And here's an example. Transform your health in 2024. Join our free wellness workshop as a quick example. Here's some other ones that I've found online. And one was free virtual cooking class. So good headline. The shot of the food immediately tells you this is about food or cooking. On the right-hand side, we can see a plant-based potluck and wellness movie. And that sounds interesting. It piques my curiosity. I'm interested in food. This could be a good social event. There's a wellness movie too. I want to improve my health. Hey, this could be an event for me. So here's some examples of effective ads. Of course, if you want people to turn up to your event, then we need to make sure that we're communicating what the event's about, where it is, when it is, why you're running it, who's invited to attend. So making sure that we include those key things. And it's often important to emphasize the value that this event can deliver. And here's an example. Walk away with personalized health tips, practical steps to improve your well-being, to improve your health. So talk to the value that your event can deliver to the people that you'd like to attend. Here's some examples. Join our GE community for inspiration to be your healthiest self. And so if you're seeking to be healthier, this could be engaging. Here's another one that talks about healthy living for your brain and body. So, if you're worried about deteriorating mental health, or if you're worried about Alzheimer's, this might grab your attention and invite you to attend. And if you're promoting events, of course, the purpose is to get people to come. And that can be challenging sometimes. What you need to have is a strong CTA or call to action. So the idea is, what do you want people to do after seeing your ad? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to register, visit a website? Do you want them to fill a form out? Whatever it is, tell them quite clearly what they need to do and how they can attend your event. Another powerful form of engaging with people is what we call testimonials or social proof. Now, you might have seen these, and I've just got some very brief examples there on the screen. But the idea is that if somebody shares their experience, then that helps build credibility. It helps build trust. If others found this event in the past when you've run it useful, then other people now might find it helpful too. I don't know if you're like me too. If I'm checking out a new product and service that I'm not sure about or whatever it is, often I'll look for reviews. And so any social proof you can provide helps people. It removes barriers, it reduces fear to attend, and it might help them engage with your event. One of the final ones is about using keywords or hashtags. So hashtags are those keywords that help describe what your event is about. And they can be helpful sometimes if people are searching for particular words. So if it was a thing on prayer, you'd do hashtag prayer. If it's something about wellness or cooking or whatever it is, use those keywords, because if people are using social media as a tool, as a search tool, then these words make it easier for the algorithm to match your content with people searching for that need. Here's an example of an ad, vibrant image. If it's a cooking class, and again, I'm using largely cooking theme for our presentation today, but whatever it is, image that helps communicate what the event's about. A headline, transform your health, and then the details, a call to action, reserve your spot now, click on the link below, some key hashtags. This gives you a bit of an understanding of what an ad might look like. Now, if you're stuck with what's a good headline, how do I hook someone's attention? I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a creative person. I need help. Well, don't overlook a tool such as ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT, if you're not familiar, is a free tool. There are subscription levels, but you can use a free version. And it's an artificial intelligence tool, I guess, to help answer questions, solve problems, give you creative solutions. So don't overlook this tool. And so here's an example. I said, ChatGPT, develop 10 headlines that could be used on Facebook for a Facebook ad that promotes vegetarian cooking classes, that helps make tasty, healthy meals easy for people that the whole family might enjoy. And this is what it gave me. And so it said, okay, here's 10. Now, with AI or any tool you use, always use discernment, understand that AI can make mistakes. And you can, if you're not happy with your response, you can always say to AI, go back and redo it. I'm not happy with that. But here's 10 responses. You can run your eye through, pick one that you like. If you don't like any of them, then you can sort of say, oh, please try again. I didn't like it for these reasons. Or with a list of 10, bounce them off different people. Talk to people in your church, talk to your family members or friends and say, hey, which one of these do you think is the best? But it's a great way to help you craft powerful headlines, especially if you're not necessarily somebody who's great at writing copy. Now, what sort of content can you post to, to promote an event? And there's, of course, the traditional posts. And here's some posts here. These are, an image, there's some text, you can see the link or the little hashtags that go with it. And so these are, attractive posts that you can do. You can also create a video ad. And, one option is not necessarily right or wrong, but the idea is to test a few of these options to see what works for your church event. And the idea is that you record a little video explaining what your event is about. Maybe it's talking to somebody who's attended the event previously, but the idea is to use this video, post it as an ad, as a communication to increase awareness and interest and desire and action in your event. The third option is what we call carousels. It's essentially a range of pictures in sequence that could tell a story. Now, here's some very rough examples, but you can imagine maybe the first picture in the carousel has some sort of call to, or like a hook, maybe, or it addresses a problem that people have, feeling unhealthy, wanting a brighter future for you and your family. And then the second slide could be, we're running this course, we've got these Bible studies, whatever it might be. And then as you go through the different images, the different slides, it explains what's happening and how people can engage and attend. So that's another option to try. So we've got the standard posts, we've got the videos and carousels. Test to see what works for your target market. Here's one I did on a spiritual post for the Ministry Innovation Channel. And one of the big barriers that people often would say to me is, I want to share my faith, but I'm not sure how. And so this post was to address that. And thanks to a special resource that you'll see on our social media pages, there's a great little book about dare to connect with your community, dare to connect with your God. So I took some content from this great little help resource and created a carousel just to demonstrate what a carousel can do. And so the first slide is 5 ways to share your faith without being pushy. And then, of course, deliver on that content. Be ready and hopeful. Be gracious and respectful, etc., etc. So that's an example of a problem, a carousel being made to address that problem, that you could use this concept to promote your event. Again, a challenge for many people is, well, we're not a graphic designer. And, we see so much beautiful content out there promoting events. How do we compete with that? And the good news is you don't have to have design skills. You don't have to use complex software. There's a platform called Canva. Now, there's lots of other options like this. Without getting too complex, I'm just going to share this as an example. Canva is free for nonprofits if you meet certain criteria. So check that out. See if your church is eligible for it. But the good news about Canva is that they have a range of templates. And you can search for a template. You can say, well, I want to create a Facebook ad. I want to create something for Instagram. I want to create a PowerPoint presentation, whatever it is. And Canva has a library of beautifully designed content that you can use as a starting place to craft your ad. And so here's an example. I thought, well, imagine if I'm running a healthy cooking class and I type that into the Canva search panel. It came back with a heap of designs, done by some talented graphic artists. And then I just dragged the one I want across to the screen, and then I can update the information. I can change that information. I can change the fonts. I can change the dates and times. If I don't like one of the pictures, I can just delete that picture. But it's a powerful tool to have really professional looking ads very simply. So really think about a tool like that, Canva, to help create beautiful posts or beautiful ads. We talked about too that you can use video, and we live in an age where video, particularly short video, is just booming online. And, TikTok, you can see people just scrolling through video after video, and many of these platforms, YouTube's now launched short video. Facebook's got short videos, and of course, Instagram does too. So we're living in an era where people love video. So think of this as an option for you to promote your church event. So how do you do this? You don't need fancy gear. You don't need expensive cameras. If you've got a mobile phone with a camera, and most mobile phones have cameras these days, what you can do is film yourself talking to the camera and record that as an ad. Now, the advice I'd give you is to film in portrait. That means you're going to film, if you can see the little image where I am at the moment, with your phone like this. And so the idea is that people hold their phones like this often, particularly when they're consuming short video. So we're going to be filming it portrait or vertical rather than long ways, which is horizontal or landscape. So film yourself portrait, a short video, less than 60 seconds, ideally even less than 30 seconds, because shorter the better. People have got limited attention spans, and begin with a hook. So a hook it's a question, it's a statement, it's something that immediately stops the scroll, it grabs someone's attention, it makes them and invites them to engage and find out more. It's something to grab them to start with. And then, of course, you need to hold their attention. So it's briefly, quickly sharing, how is this going to help them? What's this event about? And then, of course, at the end of your communication, you need to have a call to action, which might say, hey, for more information, visit our website. Might have a link to your website. To register, click on the link, attend our event, whatever it is. Call now, might have a phone number, but don't forget to add a call to action. And with Facebook or most of the platforms, social platforms, you can add captions. That means words. When many people consume short videos, sometimes they have the sound down. More than often, if they're traveling on public transport or in a crowded place, they're often watching the video with the sound turned down. So to be effective, it's a good idea to add captions. And many of the social platforms have features that add captions for you. Now, you'll need to check it. Sometimes the platforms, the AI doesn't always get it right, but use that feature to add captions to your video just to help it cut through and be more powerful. And then, of course, the last thing you can do is to add music. And again, the social media platforms have libraries of music that you can use for free to add to your communication, to make it engaging, to help with cut through. The other thing is, of course, that Facebook offers the option to create an event. And so this is a really useful way for people to say that they'd like to attend or that they're interested in attending. So again, Facebook offers this feature. Now I'm going to briefly go through some key steps on how to actually, once you've created your ad, you've recorded your video, you've done your post on Canva, how do you actually turn that into a functional ad? How do you get it out there? And I'm going to run through the Meta or Facebook Ads Manager. Now, I won't go through too much detail. Time doesn't permit it. But if this sounds interesting to you, search for many videos that are online, particularly on YouTube, about how to create and post a Facebook ad. And you'll find plenty of videos that will talk you through these steps. But first, let me just perhaps draw your attention to some of the key steps that just helps you understand the process. And when you're creating an ad on Facebook, you get to choose what the objective is. Is it about awareness, traffic, engagement, etc.? Often I'm choosing the third option called engagement. I want people to click. I want people to click on the link. I want them to find out more. And so this is telling the platform what sort of people you wish to attract. In setting up the ad, you go through these sort of screens and you can use often the automated setups. In this case, I've used the little manual engagement campaign. And this then allows me to create a name for the campaign. And there are more complex options, but I'm just going to keep this simple for now. You add your name. What you do is you just sort of say, where does the conversion happen? So what do you want people to do? And you can see the different options. You can ask for people to engage on your ad. You can ask for people to engage on your website. Perhaps you want people to engage with your Facebook page. Typically, I'm choosing on your ad. So you can see that second option there. So I want people to engage with my ad. And then what sort of engagement do we want? And again, you're given a range of menu options. And what I'm usually doing is post engagement or event responses. If I've created an ad, then I'm choosing event responses. That means people engaging with my event, responding to that event. Or if it's not set up as an event, then I'm wanting people to engage with my post, to like, to share, to comment, things such as that. We also have the option to talk about engagement goals. So this helps Meta, this helps Facebook be effective with your ad campaign. And so it's talking about performance goal being, and you can see the first option that's highlighted, I want to maximize the number of event responses. So you can choose people to engage with your post, but particularly in this case, we want people to respond to the event, to register for the event. And so Facebook will find people, or Meta will find people who will take that action. And as you can imagine, you'll need to set a budget. Now you can choose a daily budget. Often what I prefer to do is set my campaign budget. So to say I've got $200, and so you can change daily to the campaign budget. You can put in a start and end date. What I'd typically be looking at is say a 3-week, 2 to 3 week window, advertising window. You can set an end date, and basically it'll use up your budget, whether it's $50, whether it's $200 over that time period. Now, don't set too short of a window. One, people often need to have enough time to see your ad a few times. But two, sometimes it's better that the algorithm, Facebook, learns over time. And if you give it long enough, it starts to learn about the right sort of person it should be showing your ad to. You can define your audience. And in this case, you can see location of there's a country, and there's a lot of other special features you can add. But what I'd encourage you to do is if you're running a physical event, then you can drop a little pin on a map where your church is or where your event will be held and say, I want to reach people within a 10-mile radius of that point. And so here's an example. If you're in Queensland, Australia, and you're running the event in Toowoomba, you would say, I want to reach people just in the Toowoomba region. So why is that important? Well, it means that you don't want to waste your advertising money, your dollars, on people who can't attend. No point showing an ad to Americans if it's a physical in-person event. They're not going to come. So you want to reach your local community if it's an event where you want people to come and join you in person. Now, of course, if it's an online event, then you can broaden that as much as you want. You can a state or a country, whatever you want. Then there's some last little targeting things you can set, ages, minimum ages, maximum ages, and there are some more complex targeting that I'd encourage you to watch some videos on if that's of interest to you. But look, in essence, set your geography, set a core range, tell the algorithm what sort of targeting you want, promote engagement for your event. They're the key things. And then, of course, you have the chance to upload your ad that you've created. And this is the screen that helps you create that. Whenever you've posted something, there's always the risk, though, that you're going to get trolls or people who don't like what you're doing. And unfortunately, there's a lot of polarization around church and Christianity. And I've got this little acronym, RID. It's a great way just to help you understand what you can do if someone posts something about your event. And the idea is that you can, one, respond. So if someone posts something, you can say, hey, thanks for your feedback, welcome your opinion, answer their question, whatever it might be. If someone's posting something that's a bit unusual, it's not really on the mark, but it's not offensive either, perhaps you could just ignore it. But if you get something very abusive, blasphemous, swearing, whatever it might be, you can delete it. And here's an example of somebody who posted something to one of my pieces of content, and that's fine. It's fine for them to challenge our perspective. But you can choose to say, well, it's not really in harmony with what I'm trying to do. It's not really constructive. They're just trying to be derogative. You can delete it and you can block that person. You have those options. If you're going to respond, remember that this is an opportunity to demonstrate Christ-like behavior. It's a chance to demonstrate, being courteous, respecting their opinions, but presenting an alternative or answering their question in some way. Nobody really wins if you get into major arguments of calling each other names. Use this as an opportunity to demonstrate that you and your church are loving and caring community. People will watch how you respond. So if you'd like to find out more, we've come to the end of our presentation, but if you'd like to learn more, follow Ministry Innovation on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. If you're watching this live, you can again watch the video on demand, so it'll be available on Facebook and YouTube. And if you still got questions, look, welcome to reach out to us via social media. Welcome to watch some of our other content pieces. Watch the video from Jeremy Dixon on our YouTube channel. Jeremy goes into a little bit more detail from his experience. And may God bless you in your church's ministry. May you be effective in sharing the gospel with your community, reaching out, meeting people's needs, being friends to them, and may God help you be more effective in attracting people to your events. Thank you for joining us today.